Today, I'm inspired in my defiance by the fact that Donald Trump has finally, at least sort of, maybe, admitted that he cannot run for a third term as president. He has mused about the idea for years, and certainly even more so over the last few months. Yesterday, he declared it was pretty clear that the Constitution does not allow for 3 terms as president since the Constitution was amended after FDR had 4 terms at it. Now, I'm not going to celebrate the idea that he might, in fact, listen to what the Constitution has to say. I am going to take this as an indication that there are people in his orbit that told him that he cannot run for a third term. However, he does have Trump 2028 hats, and he has over the last few weeks said that there are other options. He has left out the possibility that he would run as a vice presidential candidate, but his buddy Steve Bannon has said there are other ways that they might attempt to get a Trump third term. I just want to be super clear that this is 100% illegal against the Constitution and against what our founders, as well as everyone who has voted for term limits, has instituted. There are many reasons why we have term limits for presidents. Not the least of which is that anyone trying to consolidate power over the course of that many years is going to have a negative impact on the nation as a whole. I have seen folks suggesting that Obama should run against Trump in 2028. As much as I think that President Obama did some incredible things in his 2 terms in office, I don't want a third Obama term. I want us to move on from this moment in time with a clear understanding that there is a future for our political parties without looking to the past. We don't have to just take what is given and continue to perpetuate terrible policy. We can support the next generation of leaders in becoming a part of our institutions. And the casual suggestion that 3 terms in office wouldn't be a big deal or that there are ways to do it is really against what the US is about, which is the freedom to choose. The freedom to choose our leaders, to choose our policies, and to make progress on problems that have haunted us for decades. We don't need to look to the past in order to solve those problems. The perpetual message of, I'll have it available in 2 weeks, is not good enough for problems like healthcare, like immigration, the infrastructure week that has been forthcoming for a decade. None of these things will be solved by our current leaders. And beyond that, we have to follow the rules that have been set out in our own Constitution. If we are going to survive, we at least have to do that. When a leader can openly muse about ignoring the constitutional guardrails, we are really at risk of becoming a totalitarian country, of lifting up the cult of personality so that only people who believe in one ideology can become a part of the power structure. The next few years are going to be a test for all of us. Do we preserve the rule of law? Do we follow the Constitution? Or do we descend into fascist ideas? I'm also inspired today by the fact that our Congressional Budget Office has made an estimate for how much this government shutdown is going to cost us. Their estimate currently is $14 billion of GDP that we will never get back. This $14 billion unrecoverable gross domestic product loss is not an abstract number. It is the tangible diminishment of our collective future. It is saying that we do not care about whether or not people survive. We do not care that they have been asked to pause their lives or work without pay or be furloughed for an indefinite amount of time. It shows me just how easily possibility can be eroded when those in power choose chaos over community. And the part that is such a struggle for me is that we cannot get these days back. When I flew to and from Chicago last week, I noticed the TSA agents. I saw them being overworked. I saw that they knew they were working for free. And while each member that I interacted with showed me kindness, I am aware of just how unkind this shutdown has been to them, and how unkind our leaders are being to the folks that are serving us every single day. There is nothing about this that is normal or okay. The 2 longest shutdowns in American history have been on Donald Trump's watch. And until other leaders stand up to him and say no more, It is just going to continue to happen. And finally, I'm actually inspired today by the fact that the Democrats have launched probes into just who has financed and what was promised to the donors of the Ballroom Project. The idea of the ballroom, a space meant to represent all of us, to host many of our world's leaders, that it would be funded by private individuals while sounding really nice because it isn't the taxpayers that are paying for it, is actually even more terrifying. It makes me wonder who owns that space? Who owns the people's house? And I'm glad that there are folks who are asking that question at the position of leadership. We should be demanding answers about who these donors are and what they were promised for these donations. When private wealth is going to fund a public project, what does it mean about those private individuals, about their control of that public space? And it completely disregards any lines of accountability for the money or how it is being used. Trump can say, well, it's not taxpayer funded, so I can do whatever the heck I want to. But that's not true. And it should never be true about a space that is supposed to house the machinery of our working government. Private funding for this space means that the public is not involved in the process. We don't get a say in what is being built, how it is being built, who is building it. And the fact that the entire agency that is responsible for advising the president on design and architecture has been fired means that there is even less oversight for the project than was originally planned. It is the triumph of who you know and where that money goes, overvaluing expertise and whether or not something is a good idea. I've seen in my comments multiple people say that this is a part of the president's job. And while that may be true, getting input from others is not a weakness. It is a strength when you listen to your constituents. And when you make decisions that involve and impact a huge number of people, without any transparency for how those decisions are being made or why they are being made, you are a tyrant. You are a despot. And we deserve better in America. We deserve our presidents to provide us with transparency. At least that's the democracy that I grew up in and one that I want to see preserved.